Buff Nation, what's going on? Hope you guys are having a wonderful day. I am starting my deep dive series on all of our high school signees and going in no particular order here, but thought I would start out with a guy that I think has been overlooked a little bit by us fans because he's been committed here for quite a while. And I know that we wanted Michael Carroll here as well, top guard over at Alabama, but man, please. Who needs Michael Carroll when you got Chauncey Gooden, baby? And I think you guys are going to love his film. Some of this info, guys, you're not going to get it anywhere else packaged in this format. So y'all be sure to stick with me. I'm going to give you a little bit of backstory, some information on him, and then we'll dive into his highlights and kind of get to his scouting report as well. But you're going to love his highlights. Really athletic offensive lineman coming out here to Boulder. But in case you're not familiar with Chauncey Gooden, as I pull this up, smash the like, subscribe, all that, get in the comments. But hey, let's start here with Chauncey Gooden coming out here from Lipscomb Academy. We'll get to that in a minute. But guard, they got him listed at 6'3", 360 pounds. And he is a fantastic fit for this program. Okay. I linked in the description of this video an interview that he did with Tyler Harden on Instagram. That was great. And also an article there from the Tennessean that came out earlier this week. But Lipscomb Academy, you might have thought, hey, I think I might have heard of that somewhere. Yeah, it was the program that Trent Dilfer was at before he went to UAB. And so he's been in this pro-style environment for a long time. He's been coached by NFL guys. Credit to Coach Box, Coach Phillips on the recruiting staff. They have had a relationship with Lipscomb Academy going back years, going back before their time coming to CU, as well as Coach Loadholt when he was over at Ole Miss and University of Oklahoma, OU, before coming to CU this past year. So this has been a situation in a program to where Chauncey has gotten to know so many of our Colorado staff members that Prime's brought out here for years. And they have a big-time pro atmosphere out there. And I think that he's a perfect fit for what we're going to be doing out here. Of course, number 11, offensive lineman rated by 24/7, 91 overall, and just a big, powerful guy. Get to some of his highlights. And again, I said in the thumbnail, Quentin Nelson, he is the guy. Chauncey said that, man. He models his game after Quentin Nelson. That's one of his favorite players in the NFL. And I mean, what guard is taking goal line carries? Are you serious? This guy has got an attitude. He plays with a swagger that is, it totally lines up with what we're building here at CU. And one of the most interesting things that I've learned about Chauncey Gooden when getting into this deep dive, guys, is that he is an incredibly hard worker. Of course, he's been in this kind of like an IMG style environment where it's kind of like semi-professional with how you're handling yourself at Lipscomb Academy. But when he first started playing, this might have been last year or the year before that, last year he was at 393 pounds. Okay. And he lost a significant amount of weight, over 40 pounds. He lost his playing weight, I think, was around 350 for this year. Like I said, CU's got him listed at 360. But to lose that in an offseason, to put in that work, to respond to that challenge that the coaching staff gave him, that's incredible. It shows you the type of character and work ethic that he has. So I think he's going to be a great addition to this locker room, a great addition to this program, and he's a guy that is going to put in extra work. He's not just going to punch the time clock, so to speak. He's going to be putting in that extra work. And guys, again, you're getting a guy who's 360 pounds that moves like this, that can get out on a pull, that can get out wide on a screen, that can take handoffs in the red zone. Are you kidding me? That can make a guy miss, but also just destroy the guy in front of him. He plays with a mean streak that I really like. Again, I would call him Gooden Pancake Company. Let's get the Gooden Pancake Company going. This is a guy that punches a powerful punch. He always plays through the whistle. I mean, look at that right there. Watch this. Continuing to just play through the whistle. He's going to let this guy know that he's going to have a long night. Second, third shots. I love watching him play. This is the brand of football that Coach Loadholt wants the offensive line playing with, and he embodies that. He embodies that. He said, hey, he watches a lot of Quentin Nelson. You see it, man. He's got that Quentin Nelson nasty to him. No doubt about it. And we'll see what happens with the guys that we bring in the portal. But I think that this is definitely a guy that fits to a T. Coach Prime's strategy coming out here is, oh man, guys, this is what I get for going live this late. Let me get to the film here. Oh, cannot believe I did that. Thank you guys for letting me know. Guys, look at this. He's going to take the handoff right here. Watch this. Going to have to clip this afterwards. I'm so sorry, guys. We'll get to it right here. Look, taking a handoff in the red zone. On a dive play, completely just destroying these dudes that are in front of him. Then he's going to give them a little dance, a little celebration. And, oh, yeah, it's not just in the red zone. Whenever we need a first down, we'll just give it to this guy. I love it. What offensive lineman do you see move like that? Not very many. Now watch him pull out here. Completely destroys this dude. And then, hey, he's going to let him know. He's going to talk to him. He's going to get up. You know, sorry, I'll keep this PG, but he's going to let him know that it's going to be a long night. Like I said, he's got a great tenacity and motor to him. Again, playing at that right guard position. And a guy, again, look at that, playing through the whistle, helping out, making sure he's hitting guys until the whistle is blown. I really love that. Look how he just bodies that guy back 20 yards into the backfield. He's a guy that can get out wide quickly, help on like a screen play or a dump off. Like, man, I do think that he's a guy that embodies, he's going to play early. Like, I don't know if he's going to play. He's going to be a starter his true freshman year. Again, we'll have to see who we bring in the portal and, you know, how our guys returning look. We got some very interesting prospects coming back. But this is a guy that definitely profiles to play sooner rather than later. This guy's very powerful. Again, you don't get this combination of like size, strength, speed, and agility at the interior guard position. Like, this does not come around very often. And so that's why, hey, he's saying he's Quentin Nelson. I'm going to say he's the next Quentin Nelson. Absolutely love that. But again, I love this play here. Just completely knocks the dude on his back. Gooden Pancake Company coming out to Boulder, Colorado. He's a wonderful fit here. Again, a 4-star recruit. Credits to Phil Loadholt, has had a relationship with him for years now. And I think, again, going back to his interview that I linked in the description, he's a guy that I think really connected with the family type atmosphere and the pro type atmosphere that's here, where, hey, you're expected to put in a lot of the work and, do work outside of what the hours are. And like I said, I mean, he was challenged to lose a significant amount of weight last offseason, being at 393 pounds. And yeah, he got his playing weight down 40 pounds in an offseason. And as you can see, I mean, this is a senior tape. He didn't lose any strength or anything like that, continued to become a better player. And so with some of these guys that Coach Phil Loadholt's bringing in, they're on the bigger side of things, 350, 360 pounds or so, right? Even some of the tackles that we've signed, like Jay Gardenhire or whatever, bigger guys. But these guys, I think once they get in the strength and conditioning program here at CU, you're going to see them continue to improve, their agility, their footwork, all of that, while adding the size. And guys, again, go see the interview that I linked in the description. He's really media savvy. Like the way that he communicates for being so young is really, really impressive. And I could see him and like Alexander McPherson really getting along just with kind of how they handled themselves in their interviews on, commitment day and whatnot. These are guys that are like really ferocious on the field. Again, they play with like a big time sense of just being nasty and just demolishing anything in their path. I mean, I love that. But then they seem to be like really kind, charismatic, friendly guys off the field. And I just think that's always like a really fun, addition to have on the team. Like you definitely need guys like that. I think that he's going to be a guy that helps bring, the team together. Definitely seems like a leader. But he also said one of his favorite guys to watch in the NFL, interesting enough, was Trent Williams. And I would say that, Trent Williams is kind of a unicorn athletically. And so that's kind of how I see Chauncey Gooden. Kind of a, you don't see guard tape like this very often, with how he moves. Again, what guards do you know also take handoffs out of the gun? Like, that's just crazy to think. He's also a state champion, guys. That was one of his big goals in coming to the Lipscomb Academy. And, I believe they've been a nationally ranked program, or they've at least been featured on ESPN, over the last few years. But he was there with Trent Dilfer. He stayed there after he left for UAB. It's a pro type atmosphere. And again, I just couldn't be more excited to have him here. Like, this is a guy, again, I do think he's going to play more early rather than late. I mean, he fits to a T what we're looking for. And it was great to see him recognize how unique of a situation Colorado is. We're not like some of these other schools that are going to have 30 high school guys brought in. We're not, we're not a guy who brings in high school guys and just treats them like a number. Oregon, right? We're not like those guys, right? So if we recruit you here, we want the vast majority of those guys staying here, and we envision them staying here and contributing early. Chauncey Gooden's no exception to that. I think that when we look at the rest of the class, he could be one of the guys that has a quicker path to playing time than at some of our other positions. And yes, there was a lot of, and I love the fact that we were pushing this Michael Carroll thing to see. You imagine if we had both Chauncey and Michael Carroll here, that would be fantastic. But let's not forget, I mean, we have a very, very unique and talented guard still coming here in Chauncey Gooden. They list him here at 6'4", 320, but again, CU lists him at 6'3", 360 pounds. And right now, yeah, out like tight end, interior offensive line, linebacker, those positions right now are all kind of wide open. With what we do in the transfer portal might change that, but this could be a guy that you're seeing very similar to Jordan Seaton or Cash Cleveland that finds himself on the field maybe a little bit earlier than most of us would have expected. Again, he's been committed here for a long time, so we can kind of take it for granted that he signed here. But guys, like, still getting this type of athlete, getting this type of prospect is not something that should be overlooked. For Buffs fans, Buff Nation, this is a very, very good player, and a lot of schools wanted him. He was talking about some of the other schools that were really making a big push for him was Vanderbilt, and then, oh, man, why am I blanking on the other team? It was another big time program. I want to say it was in the SEC, Missouri. And Vanderbilt were making a very big play. So, last year, Missouri ended up flipping a guy that we wanted that was initially committed to us. And look how far we've come. The next year, we're getting targets that Mizzou has that I think have much higher ceilings. So really love that Chauncey Gooden's going to be here as a Buff. I greatly look forward to seeing him in January, guys, because he is going to be an early enrollee. And so that's going to play into why I think, you could see him playing some snaps here his true freshman year. We'll see if he redshirts. We'll see if he starts. We'll see if he rotates. But yeah, if we continue that interior guard rotation that we kind of ran with for the second half of this year, why can't it be Chauncey Gooden with himself carving out a very nice starting role as his career goes on? An NFL guy, no doubt about it. Like, this type of athleticism is just something that, I've rarely seen on this Buffs offensive line in my lifetime here as a Buffs fan. So it's really, really cool. Also, guys, his favorite player is not an offensive lineman. He's mentioned Quentin Nelson as one of his favorite players. He's mentioned Trent Williams as one of his favorite players. You know who his favorite player is? It's not on the offensive line. It's on the defensive line. Aaron Donald is his favorite NFL player. I guess he's now newly retired. But I think that really says something to you about him, his DNA, his makeup, his mentality. The fact that his favorite player is a defensive lineman, and probably the most brutal defensive lineman pound for pound in NFL history, being Aaron Donald. So I thought that was really, really interesting. You don't normally hear guys talk about their favorite player playing another position. And so I think we're going to get a little bit of that Aaron Donald nasty, that Quentin Nelson nasty, an athletic freak. That's really what he is. And again, I just want to give him credit for putting in the work to lose 40 pounds in an off season. That's insane. That's absolutely insane. And to see the year that he had, at least on tape, looked massively impressive. And I can't wait to see what's next. So let me pull up this article here. Yeah, so we could see. Let's see. I'll get to a few of your comments and then I'll get out of here, guys. But hey, Rawhide, what's up, man? We got to connect. Sorry, I've been sick, man. Yeah, but y'all be sure to smash that like again. I will go back and edit this thing. Can't believe I wasn't playing the footage. I plan all this stuff and then I don't execute. This is why I film things. Okay. Janetra Jackson says, did Coach Loadholt ask him to lose weight, or was it his high school coach? Let's go back in here. I believe it was his high school coach. Let me see here. Yes, his head coach. First-year coach Jamie Graham. Yeah, maybe nothing illustrates Gooden's desire more than when first-year coach Jamie Graham arrived back at Lipscomb Academy, fresh off a one-year assistant coaching stint at UAB with former Lipscomb Academy coach Trent Dilfer. Graham, who was hired in December 5th of 2023, met with Gooden the next day and issued an ultimatum. I said, Chauncey, 393? Are you serious? Graham recalled. He said, yes, sir. I said, you got to lose that weight, right? He said, yes, sir. From that point on, Chauncey was going to do whatever he needed to do to play. And we set goals we wanted him to meet throughout the season. And I promise you, Chauncey did not miss a mark. So that's really cool to see. Love to just, that's uncommon, to lose that sort of weight, and you got to lose it in the right way, right? Because you want to continue to build strength, you want to build agility, all of that. And again, credit to his family, his parents, his friends, the coaching staff out there. I think, from what I've read about him, from what I watch on tape, even seeing, the interviews that he's done, I can just tell he fits that character mold, that Coach Prime and the rest of the staff are looking for. And this is a guy that I think you can come in, that you can expect him to come in and just, he'll get it pretty quickly on what the expectation is. And he's going to fall in line with what's being asked of him and kind of what this culture is. He's a great culture fit. That's kind of how I see it. So, yeah, Football Fanatics saying college nutrition and weight room will have this man in shape in no time. The talent is there. Absolutely. I totally believe it. And again, I think that there's there's a really nice canvas to work with, so to speak. I'll run through these highlights again, but again, what kind of interior guard are you seeing? Take handoffs out the gun. Like, like that's insane. That's insane. It cracks me up. Blah blah blah. Great name, by the way. He says Quentin Nelson is one of my favorite players at Pure Dog. You're absolutely right. So, yeah, I can't wait to just glaze all over these guys that have now officially signed with CU. And so you're going to get maximum glazing from this channel. You're going to get a great scouting report. You're going to get a great breakdown, and you're also going to get some great glazing. So Quentin Nelson's my comp, and I'm sticking with it. I love it. Dennis finally won't be we won't be undersized right now. Yeah, our Achilles heel. Yeah, we're not going to be undersized next year at all. I think that we're going to have plenty of size throughout the entire offensive line. We were still even a little undersized this year, kind of with how the right tackle shaked out. Philip Houston, a little bit undersized, but, he held his own given, his circumstances. And, but we really didn't have a sure right tackle coming into this season. I know many people believed, and I thought for a time, that maybe Khalil Benson really would play right tackle, but for most of the offseason, I thought that he'd more so play guard, and that's kind of where he ended up playing at. And then the Tyler Brown experiment at right tackle should have never happened, and so we were kind of left with Philip Houston. We had one guy at right tackle, and he was able to play most of the season, thank God. And so credit to Philip Houston, but it would be nice to see if we can address that position in the portal, bring in a guy maybe more similarly sized to Savion Washington, a grown dude that's like, 6'5", 6'7", 320 pounds. Savion Washington had a pretty good season this year at Syracuse, guys, just saying. So let's go ahead and get a nice guy in the portal. Maybe Carde Smith is able to compete for day one snaps at tackle, but Jordan Seaton, he's a unicorn. Cash Cleveland, that rarely happens. But I would still love us right now. How I see this right now, guys, is I don't think you can bring in anybody to compete at Jordan Seaton's level to replace him. But the priority needs to go to developing an iron curtain behind Julian Lewis. This is a true freshman quarterback that's likely going to start for us. So let's not take our chances in saying, hey, I think we're okay at offensive line. No. I want like a 2-3 deep. That's really, really good. I want to exhaust every single avenue to bring in the best starting five, the best 2 deep possible. And that means bringing in competition at both guard positions, at center, at right tackle. No doubt about it. So I think we have a freshman All-American left tackle in Jordan Seaton. I think Cash Cleveland really, really did impress. Was going through some of the grades right now, and he was pretty comparable as a true freshman walk-on to sophomore year Van Wells. So that's the Van Wells we saw last year in 2023. And he's played significantly better than sophomore Hank Zielinskis we saw this year. So I think that there's a lot of promise for him. But yeah, I would still love to see us bring in competition to compete with him, to compete with Kareem Harden, who should be back, and see what else we can do at right tackle. But right now, I don't know if we got anybody else in the guard room, David, to answer your question. You think he starts at guard that at least, raw athleticism is built like this, Now we'll see how Zach Owens and why am I forgetting the Peyton Kirkland, the transfer from Texas, how those guys look now having another year to work. Because those guys have been in college football now for a couple years or so. So we'll see. There's a lot of unknown right now in the room, but a lot of very intriguing athletes that we have at the offensive line position. It would be nice if maybe one of these interior guys could also play center. as well, because outside of Cash, who's taking snaps for us? Maybe Tyler Brown? I don't really know. And Tyler Brown should be back next year. So yeah, continue to bring in competition. I don't know if you guys noticed this, but Tyler Brown got some snaps on the defensive line at the end of that game against Oklahoma State. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. I'll get to a few of your comments before this NyQuil hits. Yeah. Shirley, hope you're doing well. Thanks for tuning in. Yeah, sorry about this mishap, guys. So embarrassing. D Regulo, Ethan Boyd left us hanging. He was a transfer portal guy that quit. I think I want to push back on that a little bit. He was a transfer portal guy that retired, right? Like, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe he just straight up retired. So maybe it was just something where, again, football is a physical sport, man. Maybe his body just couldn't get through. I know that he had dealt with some injuries throughout his career at Michigan State. And maybe it was just one of those things where, kind of like Andrew Luck, maybe some rehabbing never fully, got him to the place where he wanted to be. And he's like, yeah, I just got to call it quits. But he didn't quit on us from what I understand, to go to another school or to re-enter the transfer portal. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, he retired. So again, if you're retiring from college football, man, that sucks. But yeah, like, that always sucks to lose a guy that we had coming out here. And Ethan Boyd, I kind of saw like similar to that Khalil Benson type of offensive tackle, where it's like, yeah, I was never a full-time starter at Michigan State and might have just profiled better as a guard in retrospect. So I don't really know. But this year, man, we got to make sure we get true offensive tackles. We got to have a true swing tackle. I believe Wyatt Hummel is done with eligibility. Maybe he was able to redshirt this year. I'm not sure, but he could be a swing tackle for us. But I would imagine that there's going to be some nice upgrades made on our offensive line. Khalil Benson should be back next year. That's a good point, Shank. For some reason, I always kept thinking that he was a senior, but you're right. Redshirt junior, so he could come back and compete for one of those starting guard positions as well. But again, like, when you look at how Chauncey Gooden moves, again, I just feel like he moves differently than some of the guys that we have currently in our interior line room. VH, thanks for tuning in. I thought Jay Gardenhire was the one who had to lose weight to get a scholarship. You are correct. He was given a challenge directly from Coach Loadholt to lose a certain amount of weight. And he did that, I assume, because he signed today. I can go ahead and pull up his profile. 6'8", 330. They got him listed at 330 because he was originally on 24/7 listed at 350. Okay. So, and he might have been playing even heavier last year out in New Jersey. Not really sure. But yeah, getting down to 330, that's great. Yeah, we can see it right here. He's gotten down to 330. So another guy that has done the work. That's really great. The thumbnail made me think you were playing Madden. Dude, I don't even have Madden, but maybe I should buy it. I saw it was on sale. Man, hey, maybe we could see Gooden play a little bit of that defensive tackle, just like his favorite player, Aaron Donald, right? But would love to have an athlete like that on the interior line. No doubt about it. We also do have Ben Resnick. Thank you for that. Walk on that I think has gotten a few snaps, but yeah, I definitely want to see some more tackles brought in, some interior line. Again, our loyalty needs to be to Julian Lewis, our quarterback room, and that's it. We got to put the best starting five in front of him in pass protection and for taking another step with this run game. Our run game was at least, so some of these games, right? And that was a massive improvement. It was even helpful in a handful of games where I would say like it helped contribute to winning football, in like a handful of games. But I don't know if it was the majority, right? So we'll see what happens, man. It's going to be a fun room to see how the competition works out because, like you guys have said, we got Tyler Brown coming back, Kareem Harden, um, Khalil Benson, all these guys. And yeah, I imagine we're going to make linebacker a big time priority in the portal as we're losing both of our starters, hopefully to the NFL. Let's see them get at least a Hula Bowl invite. Come on now. Hula Bowl, what you doing? But yeah, I don't want to be starting a true freshman at box linebacker. I don't want to be doing that as much as I like Mantrez Walker. It's always nice to just see freshmen exceed expectation, not have too much responsibility put on them at once. Kind of hypocritical for me to say that with, hyping up Julian Lewis, but that's a different situation. He's a prodigy. He's a prodigy. He's going to be the guy, and we got to make sure we make his freshman year as easy as possible, making sure we have a dominant offensive line and run game. That's where the money needs to go, baby. Yeah, Kaiser, you're right. We probably need about 3 guys in there. We do have, Gage Goldberg. We'll see what comes of him. I don't, I don't really put a lot of stock in walk-ons, but we have had some prove me wrong, right? Charlie Offerdahl ended up being our 3rd best running back on the team. He got a scholarship. We ended up seeing Cash Cleveland earn himself a scholarship. I believe he'll be given that here at some point because of the new roster rules and whatever. But, he proved me wrong. But, we'll see. We'll see if Goldberg ends up making a name for himself, this next offseason. It's going to be fun to see. In terms of linebacker targets, I really need to dive into like portal stuff. I haven't done too much of it yet. We did offer a 5-star kicker today. Thank God. And hopefully he signs. His name is Elliot Arnold. I might have done a video on him. He's out of Tennessee, got a big leg. I love that. We've a guy that I could see us going after that I believe we do have interest in is this guy right here. Jeremiah Trotter's son, Josiah Trotter, is entering the NCAA transfer portal. He had 92 tackles for West Virginia last year. That's insane. 4 tackles for loss and an interception. He's the son of NFL Pro Bowler Jeremiah Trotter Sr. and brother of Eagles linebacker Jeremiah Trotter Jr., who played at Clemson, that was drafted last year. So, yeah, I would love to see this dude in the black and gold. I imagine linebacker is going to be a serious priority. I don't know if there are any other guys here. Oh, yeah, we have offered this guy, a transfer wide receiver, AAC Freshman of the Year, Joseph Williams. This is somebody to keep an eye on. Out of Arlington, Texas. I do wonder if he has a relationship with Coach Prime, being from, DFW area prior to all this. We'll just have to see. But, hey, yeah, as a freshman, he had 30 catches, 588 yards, 5 TDs, including 3 100-yard games. 2024 AAC Freshman of the Year. We need him in Colorado. And, yeah, not coming off a serious injury like the last AAC Freshman of the Year we brought on. So, yeah, let's bring in Joseph Williams. That would be really cool. And, again, he's got great size. 6'2", 6'3", 6'4", 6'5", wide receivers. I mean, that's the height of a lot of the guys that are on the roster right now. Funny enough, I think, we've brought in some shorter wide receivers in the high school class this year, but all those guys can score. No doubt about it. All right, guys. DQ coming in here. Alex Graham is a way bigger loss than y'all are playing it to be. That's the next Travis. I mean, does he play on both sides? I mean, I got to push back on you a little bit, DQ. I'm not trying to get into a fight or anything like that, but I maybe watched Alex Graham's like highlight tape maybe like 2 or 3 times this offseason. And again, I think he's a really good player. USC, congratulations. Y'all got a great player, but I don't know if I see Travis Hunter out of Alex Graham. I don't know about that. But I think we're going to be just fine at the DB positions at safety. Hopefully, we get that white guy from Purdue. Uh, yeah, then we can have like 3 really good white guys on the team. That's about all we need. But yeah, that guy from Purdue seems like he's like a first round type of talent. That's what people are saying on Twitter. Pair him with Carter Stoutmeyer, RJ Johnson, Savion Riley. I imagine we'll bring in somebody else, but we'll see who else we bring in at corner. We might have to agree to disagree. Maybe I'll go back and look at it. You think Ollie Gordon is coming? Man, I would love it. Until he enters the transfer portal, I'm not going to get my hopes up too high, but I'm part of the campaign. I even commented on his post today, and I said, Ollie, we need you in Boulder. Yeah, he would definitely be a big time investment to help out a young quarterback like Julian Lewis. I mean, that's the type of running back we need. And then you can spell him with guys like Isaiah Augustive, with Michael Welsh, and then see what those guys become after another year. Yeah. Is there anybody in the portal you think is worth throwing the bag at? Well, I think we'll make some nice offers to a handful of players. I mean, it sounds like that Josiah Trotter, rather. I would love to get him out here. That Tulsa wide receiver that I just highlighted, Ollie Gordon, of course. There's some other guys that I can't remember their names right now, but I have them in this document, this like slide deck that I have of some interior offensive linemen that I'm pretty intrigued about that I'll get to here at some point. But I think we're going to have some money to spend. And, with the transfer portal in today's age, no one's coming out here to play for free. So I imagine any guys that we end up bringing in the transfer portal that have performed well at their previous schools, they're going to get a nice chunk of change. And Welsh could definitely have a big season next year. I'm with you on that. No doubt about it. No doubt about it. Hey, DQ, I trust your judgment, but playing both sides and dominating in a championship game is Travis-esque. Hey, not going to argue about that. And again, you have seen him more than I have. So, hey, we'll have to see how it all plays out. Is it true that Alex Graham announced his commitment to USC without even having any USC gear to put on? Was that true? Did I read that correctly? Congratulations to him, man. Jaheim Otis could be nice. We're going to be missing our 2 starting interior guys from this year. So, yeah, we've had some success with Anquan Barnes, Amari McNeil, some other SEC transfers. So, why not? Why not? Are the creators of South Park involved with NIL? I would hope so, because they're one of the most notable graduates. But in terms of me having any direct knowledge into actual names of donors of CU's NIL program, I do not know one. So all speculation from me, man. I have no idea, but CU's a pretty successful school. I think we got some NIL money. Again, Julian Lewis isn't coming out here for, being put on food stamps out in Boulder, right? So we got some NIL to play with. And from my understanding is that it's continued to grow every year, especially since Coach Prime's been here. And as long as we continue to build up, maybe we do flip a guy like Michael Carroll later on, those types of guys, or we're able to go back and forth a little bit longer with Michigan for a prospect like NOB. But, these guys that are top recruits, they're in some really great situations because they have offers from multiple programs that should be able to put them in the NFL, and they're able to get paid really, really well. So, hey, I wanted NOB here to play linebacker. He might have been a guy who could be getting playing time his first year here at CU. I'm not sure what Michigan's linebacker room looks like next year, but I wanted to see him here. But just because he ended up at Michigan, I'm not just going to come out and say, well, he's only doing it for the money. Like, come on, like Michigan had 17 draft picks last year. I know different coach, but hey, they still beat Ohio State this year. Michigan's still a really good football program, and they put a lot of great players in the NFL. So I'm not one of those guys that's just going to call everybody who doesn't come here a bag chaser. Everybody deserves the bag, and also to set themselves up for their career moving forward. Hey, Shank, I really like this. This is a guy that I got in my spreadsheet, Cole Wisniewski. Yes, another white boy. We could have a few white boys transfer out here, which would be a lot of fun. Did Trevor Woods leave? I don't think so, at least not yet. He hasn't entered the portal, so we'll have to see. But it sounded like Coach Hart in that video. I don't know if it was Reach the People or Well Off this week. Sure sounded like he was telling most of those dudes that they needed to transfer out. Like not all of them, but most of them. So I imagine linebacker is going to be a big priority. All right. Yeah, I hope we don't lose any more players to Michigan either. I mean, all of a sudden now they just got a bajillion dollars. Like, what the heck? They were talked about last year about not being up to par with NIL, and now look at them. Guess that's what desperation does. Exhibit saying he got $300K and his family a house by USC can't be mad. Whenever these guys are set up, their family's taken care of, all that. You can never be too upset, Yeah, maybe we get some Samoans. We are missing that, but yeah. We'll have a couple white boys on the team, but right now, Cash Cleveland's really the only one that's playing significant time, and Alexander McPherson, he might be my new favorite white boy on the team. Cash has some competition that might increase as the transfer portal season goes on. Because Hart can't develop linebackers. I keep it right. I love this north side. Yeah. I've been glazing on Coach Hart, elite. He's got these guys playing better, but we'll see what happens with Mantrez Walker, right? Does he develop? That's going to be the real thing to see. All right, going to go for a few more minutes. Want to make sure I'm somewhat in focus. Sorry, guys. At Jones 2-3. Appreciate the content this week, especially with you not feeling well. Hey, absolutely. Thank you guys for sticking with me. Again, there's a lot of channels you could go to for this content, and I appreciate you make me one of them. So thank you very much. And yeah, I had to get on here. This is how I know that I just have so much fun doing this, is that even when I'm not feeling well, I still want to get out here and talk to you guys. So even as the NyQuil is starting to hit, I had to get out here. What do I think of Gibson? Dude, this guy, Tyreek Hill, baby. This guy's a special talent. And if he was 6 feet, not 5'8", you probably would see him rated a 5-star, right? He's 5'8". Now, I'm normally not like 5'8". Leave it to a school like Arizona to bring in short players like that. Their quarterback's like 5'8", right? But nah, man, wide receiver, it doesn't matter. Height does not matter. If you're that fast, if you're that shifty, it doesn't matter at all. The guy plays a lot bigger than what his listed size is, and he's tough as nails. He, as a Broncos fan, I've watched like a ton of Emmanuel Sanders, and so his toughness, like the way that he takes hits, and you're like, man, how's he getting up from that? Like, does remind me a lot of Emmanuel Sanders in that fashion, because Emmanuel, I think he was like 5'10", right? And he's laying out, over the middle, or on go routes, getting hit by safeties, but, coming up with big time catches, always had really reliable hands, even for being a smaller guy. And he's got some of that grit to him. I believe Emmanuel Sanders was also a DFW area guy, SMU, if I remember correctly. So it's cool to see him coming out here from North Crowley. I love it. Yeah, Alex Graham didn't have any USC gear on. Well, we know what the deal is there. That's hilarious. I love it. Oh man. Who is your favorite recruit? This is a good one. You're gonna put me in a tough spot here. I'll give you my favorite recruit today. I'm going to ask that I'm allowed to flip flop like crazy. Not Julian Lewis. Too popular. Too popular. He's already got the NIL deals. Whatever. Just kidding. Just kidding, Julian. We're still super grateful to have you. We are not worthy. All right. I really do like Quentin Gibson. I really do like Alexander McPherson. I just like him. I feel like he's underrated. Um and I just love when he was doing his interview with Ocho and Shannon Sharp with Unk. It was so funny. He's like, they're asking him, they're like, what are what do you want people to know about you? And he's like, I'm a menace on the field, but I'm I'm just paraphrasing, but he's like, I'm just, I want you to know that I'm a really fun guy, nice guy off the field. Like that's not who I am off the field. It's like how I feel like some of these guys, they're like big bullies on the field, but they're like teddy bears, when you actually get to know them. And I love that, man. I feel like that was on Thursday last week. That was like good, wholesome stuff, man. Like seeing all those guys commit. But man, I'm gonna go with the guy that I decided to start my video series out on, my deep dives of all our signees, man. Chauncey Gooden. I'm gonna say he's my favorite right now, because, yeah, again, this is a guy that, again, I think because there was a lot of late attention over here given to Michael Carroll with him coming out to his visit, and he's been committed here for so long that we almost took his commitment for granted. I mean, he's a very good player, and I can't wait to see him play. Like the offensive line, I just look forward to seeing take another step next year under Phil Loadholt. Can't wait to see what sort of extension he gets. Is the schedule set in stone? Yes. Well, not the actual dates, but the opponents and whether they're home and away will be. But let's see if Brett Yormark changes anything with if we just play 8 conference games, because the fact that Boise State is being more respected than any team in the Big 12 is absolutely laughable. And it makes me honestly wish that there was BCS rankings again, like doing all this stuff, because to me, it just doesn't make any sense at all. And someone brought up in the chat earlier today about in Guru's Discord about like a NIT tournament. That would be really cool. Like if, some of the other teams that don't make it to the college football playoff playing another tournament with like other bowl games, maybe another 12. That would be really cool. I'll admit it, we got a cupcake schedule next season. I know 2 of our 3 out of conference opponents. It's like Delaware and some other school, Wyoming. But Georgia Tech is going to be a tough team to open up against. They're tough as nails, and we're going to have a true freshman quarterback. So that's going to be a tough matchup. But I can't really remember who we face in conference outside of like BYU, Arizona State. Are we sure it's more cupcake? Dave, we had Big Mike, Alabama Kane with more money. Yeah, hopefully we'll have more money later on to make those business decisions, flip them in our favor again after we're countered, right? Right now, Raquel, if, I'm with you. He's not going to get here till the summer, but he's like the only guy on the roster right now that has that prototypical, uh, you know, George Kittle, Travis Kelsey um, type of ability where he can block and get downfield. He's already 6'6", 260. Are you kidding me? Oh yeah, yeah. If we were bringing back, if I wish they would exercise it, but it is what it is. Shador's COVID year, whatever. That would be great. Travis coming back for his senior year, but that'll just have to be another reality. How you feel about the four-star lineman that threw Colorado's hat on signing day last year, and now he's in the transfer portal? Yeah, I think his name was McCroy. And I referenced that very earlier, when I was like, Oregon, because they'll bring in all these guys. They'll have a top 5 recruiting class. I think right now their high school class is number 1, if I remember correctly. But in my opinion, at some of these other schools like Oregon, you're treated truly like another number um, from the high school ranks. And you'll see guys leave and transfer out, all that. That's just kind of how it is, man. And you can't really knock it because it's clearly working for them, with them being able to buy players and also develop players. They're starting to have more success in the NFL as well. Shout out to Bo Nix. But yeah, I hate Dan Lanning. I hate him. I hate him so much. And I hate to see them successful. And it's like, dude, we told you, all these guys, you're just a number. So it doesn't shock me to see high-end blue chip guys transfer out after a year. Notice that isn't something that happens very often with us. Yes, Cormani McClain happened, but that wasn't because, well, I'll just leave it at that. Some players figure out that they're not good fits, but it's not because we didn't value him and give him an opportunity to play, obviously. Just wasn't a good fit. Yeah, we need Zach Atkins, man. We need Zach Atkins, Zach Ertz. That's what I'm saying. We got enough tight ends right now, but honestly, man, I don't really know if they're really that good at all. I mean, sometimes, Savell Smalls, the yak just isn't there. What happened to his athleticism, man? He looked so athletic coming into college football as that edge tight end, and we'll see what happens with Morgan Pearson, but we need a lot more juice at the tight end position, and let's go get a guy like Zach Atkins paired with Zayne DeSouza and Corbin Laisure. Yeah, right now I kind of feel like we got a bunch of tight ends that really aren't tight ends. That's kind of how it feels right now. Don't prey down on people's success. You're absolutely right. But I hate Dan Lanning. I just got to say it. I think we all do. All my friends hate Dan Lanning. That's right. I think I saw on Twitter, for a guy that talks about not playing for clicks, he sure is trending on social media a lot of the times for things that he's doing, right? You saw him smashing that Washington helmet, dude. Like my problem with Dan Lanning, and he's a great coach. He's a great coach. But my problem is I don't feel like he's honest about who he is, like to the public. Because again, he says one thing and then his actions reflect another. Nah, man, just be yourself. Just be yourself. It's like when I see the hypocrisy, that's what bothers me. Just be yourself. Just come out and say it. Like this channel, it's just David Talks Buffs. I'm not recruiting expert David Talks Buffs. I'm not, guru David Talks Buffs. I'm just me talking buffs. Sometimes it's, really great stuff. Other times it's a glaze fest. It's just whatever I want to do. Sometimes it's sarcastic. Sometimes it's serious. It's just me talking. Look at this linebacker Andrew Jones, Grambling State. Dude, I saw a photo of him on Twitter. He could be our Nakai Hill Green 2.0. All right. Let me look him up. Andrew Jones, Grambling State. All right, 6'2", 220. All right, let me pull it up here. University of Memphis previously, then went to play at Grambling State. Nice. He's got a touchdown. Then this year, 57 tackles, 65 assisted. Oh my goodness, 122 tackles on the season. This guy was all over the field. A forced fumble and a fumble recovery, 3 sacks. He had 20 and a half tackles for loss. What in the world? I'm gonna need to see if I got any film on this guy. Let me check. Huh. Dude, 20 and a half tackles for a loss? Yeah, he should probably be playing up above FCS, right? Let's see here. How about that? Let's see if we got any Grambling State film on my drive. Not yet. Might have to. Just Bowling Green. Too bad. Dang. I want to, I definitely need to look into this guy. I like this. It's a great suggestion. Andrew Jones. Thank you. Don't sleep on Savell Smalls. He did everything he was asked to do for our offense, was not giving tight ends opportunities. You're very right. He was one of the unsung heroes of our season this year. No doubt about it. He's not trying to downplay what he has done this year. What I'm also trying to say is yes, and we could also use an athlete with some serious juice out there. Like, I don't know if he's a guy that definitely helped the run game. I'm not really sure much if there's much there left in terms of what's to be discovered in the vertical game for him. We'll have to see. Yeah, and I think the change of scenery's benefited Cormani from what I've seen. I'm really happy for him. Oh, yeah, that's right. Arbuckle is off to University of Oklahoma. I imagine their quarterback is on their way to OU as well. You saw Jackson Arnold jump in the portal. Maybe Bartoloni takes the OC job at Washington State. That would be really interesting. And I would be very interested to see who we bring in as tight ends coach. I'm trying to think who are some other NFL players, not Kellen Winslow. Nope. He can't do it. The guys, there's some people that are going crazy about Warren Sapp being brought on staff. Imagine Kellen Winslow, man. That would just be, that would be crazy. Yes, Gronk would be perfect. And, oh yeah, duh, Shannon Sharp. That would be so fun to have Shannon Sharp out here. How about him and Ocho being coaching interns this spring? Wouldn't that be fun? And Ocho, I believe he was serious when he was talking about that, being a coaching intern out here for the spring. So all these receivers are going to get to work with Chad Ochocinco as well as Jason Phillips, who has absolutely gotten this wide receiver core in line, acting like professionals, man. But Gronk would be hilarious. Did you guys watch the Aaron Hernandez Hulu show? Man, that truly was a trip. That was a trip. How he was portrayed was so funny. Maybe bring back Brew. Maybe. I don't think he wants to be here, though. I think he wants to be closer to his family over in North Carolina. So Um, yeah, and I would like to just bring in somebody a little bit younger, maybe a little bit more in touch. I really like this pro style stuff that we're doing. So I know that, of course, Coach Brew coached in the NFL for a little bit, if I remember correctly. But I, like you've heard Christian Hudson talk about it, is just it's hard not to like really buy into what we're doing on the defensive line with guys like Warren Sapp, Damian Lewis, like those guys there. So I think it's really fun. You know, we've had a Adalius Thomas. I think he's still on staff, if I'm correct. So we got NFL guys all over the place. I would just love to see more of that. It's like super unique. And I think that's something that we should continue to lean into. Hey, if guess Ray Lewis isn't coaching FAU, right? Because Texas Tech has a coach that's going out there. I mean, sorry, Coach Hart, but gonna have to be coaching with Ray Lewis too. Be a lot of fun. Big O, what's going on, Dave? I'm watching Chauncey deal on the D side. He's a beast. Yes, yes, yes. He's an athletic freak, man, and guys like this don't come along very often. So I'm very excited to have him here. Go get the tight end coach at Oregon. Yeah, right. Yeah, not yeah, right, as in that's a dumb idea, but yeah, right. Like that is that would be the best scenario possible. But I doubt he leaves. But that would be incredible. Any NFL tight end coaches available? I don't know. I don't know. I'm trying to think of coaches that have already been fired. Maybe the Bears coach, I mean, seems to have done a decent job with Cole Kmet. Imagine he'll be leaving. The Jets have done nothing with their tight ends, so don't even bother with that. Um, the Raiders, maybe. It, but they haven't fired anybody yet. Like, well, they fired their offensive coordinator. I'm not sure. Oh, Prime said a couple coaches leaving this offseason. Prime said, okay, well, I might get some flack for this. The one position I'd really like to see an upgrade on is Coach Flea. He did a better job this year, but I still don't know if we're getting the most out of these running backs that we got. That's how I feel. And it would be nice to bring in, um, we've kind of seen it for 2 years now. Kevin Mathis was a guy that I was kind of unsure about coming into the season, right? But seeing the step that the DBs took this year, got no issue. Like he's been great. And I kind of feel that way about Coach Hart as well. Like he was a guy that I had close to the top of my hot seat list. But with the linebacker play we got this year, not worried. Um, now doesn't mean there aren't some question marks to still have about him, but with Coach Flea, I think he's done a good job. Like he's done a much better job than I've expected. That's because it felt like our running backs just. We also didn't have our running backs giving them any reason to give them the ball last year. I know that might be a little controversial, but I would like to see a new running backs coach be brought in here. I'm sorry, Coach Flea. I'm sorry, Coach Flea. Yeah, Jason Witten, that'd be cool. Oh yeah, yeah. Hey, Kaiser saying Carde and Chauncey starting on day one. Okay, Don Juan. Here is the conflict right now with the Alamo Bowl. That is when my family's Christmas is scheduled on the East Coast that weekend. I just figured out. Devastating. So like to see my mom and my sisters out there. So it's a little bit more up in the air. I would love to go, but now I'm scared that I won't be able to, which is going to suck. And lastly, I'll leave with Kodiak. Good to see you, man. Nothing like watching 18-year-olds with a microscope who will largely determine our mental health on Saturdays next fall. Couldn't have said it better. Broncos fans, go subscribe to Kodiak Broncos podcast. We did a show together last Sunday. It was cinematic. It was great. And we were right. We were right, Kodiak. Sean Payton was going to come out with something to prove about Bo Nix yesterday or in this game on Monday night, and it almost backfired on him. Most definitely. But yeah, you guys go check out Kodiak Broncos podcast. We'll be connecting here again in the future. And guys, the NyQuil is hitting. I'm going to shut this thing down. I'm going to go to bed, and I'm going to have some more in-depth deep dives for you where I'm not screwing up showing the film tomorrow. Who will those be? Well, you just got to like, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications, and tune in tomorrow because I haven't decided yet. Take care, guys. Scope up.